Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. I have another channel on which I speak on astrology and a Facebook page which you will find both in the description box below. Please be aware of people who impersonate me. So you will find that warning in the description box below as well. It's been a long time and actually I missed making videos. I usually don't like to share about me, but I do like to make videos with divine guidance simply because I like to work with God. So I said this in other videos basically, and this is an advice for everyone. It's beneficial to work with your gifts. It's first of all, it's healing. You are doing work with God, with the divine realm. They work through you, and for this reason, it's healing. Literally, it's information which you provide in two ways. Healing. One way, it's healing because you are doing a good deed, and by that you receive divine grace. Yeah, so that's the highest healing that you can receive. That's one thing. Second thing is that you are in direct connection with God. Therefore, energetically speaking, it's healing. Not just because you do a good deed, so you are rewarded, but it's a direct energy channeling through the divine, through you from the divine realm. So for this reason, it's healing. And this applies to any gift you have, anything that you do with the divine realm. I said this before, every information that I provide is coming basically from personal experience. And this as well, this advice that I gave comes from personal experience. I know this, it's healing. And I have noticed this in many ways. For example, there were a lot of attacks on my throat chakra. And I didn't know that, of course, about my image, how I see myself, how others, how I imagine that others see me. A lot of beauty spells, about a lot of attacks on my voice, attacks on how I express myself, on how people should see me. I didn't know about all this because there are just too many attacks. So God was showing me, but at the time, I thought this is just stupid because I was very self-confident person always. So I was like, this is stupid. God was showing me they are cursing you so people will see you like you are crazy or you are stupid or you are whatever. And I was like, people cannot see me like I'm stupid because I'm not. First of all. Second of all, I'm very confident because I graduated from many schools and I worked at very high level. So I'm like, who the fuck cares what they curse me? Because I know who I am and I have a CV to prove it. And I have a lot of high officials who were very keen to work with me. I was in very high demand always in my work. So of course I would never be doubting myself, but honestly, and this is important for everyone to know, when I made the first video, I sensed energetically in my voice, I didn't recognize myself. So I understood then only, very late in my spiritual fighting, that although on conscious level it doesn't affect you, what they do with darkness, because you know yourself, so they cannot make you doubt yourself. However, on energetic level, there's a darkness which is attaching on your throat chakra in this case, you know. And only when I made the videos, I realized that it attached, even though I didn't take it in on conscious level, so I didn't doubt my intelligence. However, it was a darkness which was attached to my throat chakra because they did all these spells, all these incantations, all these rituals, all this mirror magic, all this beauty magic, and all this crazy stuff. So even if you don't accept what they sent to you, however, it's a darkness which attaches itself to you and it affects your energy, your vibration. So it's important to work with your gift. I realized only when I made the videos that actually that darkness attached to my voice, to my throat chakra, to my ajna chakra, and that by doing the videos, I was healing it, basically. First of all, because I was noticing it, so I could work on healing it myself, but then also because, as I explained, because working with God, basically, you channel energy and that darkness cleans itself, okay? So I explained this in more depth so everybody will understand that this is not just, I don't know, some random advice I gave. This is very serious advice and is very important in your healing to work with your gifts. It's very important to work with your gifts because you receive divine grace and you receive energy healing, basically, both, yeah? Okay, now that I clarified this, moving on, it's been a long time since I made a video for a number of reasons. One reason was that God said that I should make another channel, a different type of channel, God said. I got some advice on how to make it, but it's not clear yet. As I understand, I should do some sort of podcast, God said. I need to understand how this works. I need to buy the equipment. I need many things, basically, for this to come about. Another thing is that, as I said in one of the community board postings, I have to relocate in my new beginning, and in order to do the new podcast and to start my new beginning and so on. And for the time being, I'm still passing tests in order to begin my new beginning, to have my new beginning. And another thing is that God said I should stop making videos because I was closing timelines. And when you close timelines, you need to cut strings. Now, when you make videos, they do a lot of darkness work on my videos and on most light workers' videos. So for this reason, it's important not to make videos when you close timelines and when you cut strings, because they attach to your voice, they attach to the energy that you're transmitting, they feed on your energy and so on. This is something that comes with the territory. You accept this, but then again, when you have a time when you receive divine guidance that you need to stop for your benefit, so you can actually close certain portals, certain things, then you have to stop for a while, yeah? So this is the reason why I didn't make videos for a while. Now, I continued my work. I hope those that are entitled and authorized by the Divine Realm are checking my file which I made in the Akashic Records, because I write daily, I journal daily, and I write there the information, many types of information. Some information is about bondage breaking, and that information is available only to certain individuals. God knows who are those individuals, and God makes that information available to them. Some of them are authorities, some of them are God-chosen individuals who do spiritual fighting themselves, and they need that information. But I also write there advice on self-defense. So that also is made available to whom is relevant and so on, yeah? So I have a lot of information that I can share with you. But for now, God has guided me that for the first video, I should go back to the last topic which I discussed, because I didn't finish all that was supposed to be said. And because God said that people did not understand fully about the spiritual warfare, as I compared it as a psychological warfare. Yeah. So God said you need to go back and you need to explain it again. So that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So spiritual warfare is psychological warfare. I said this. Now I count on the fact that everyone who's doing spiritual warfare is doing research, because the information which is available usually is fake knowledge. Now I'm biased, of course, because I've done military school, so to me some information comes natural from my own knowledge, but I will try to explain it to other people. I don't know exactly what is clear to everybody, and who Googled, because I advised everybody to Google this to understand how psychological warfare works, because it's a complex thing, but I will try to pin it down in a few words. Basically, psychological warfare means that it's more on psychological level, obviously. It targets value-based, so it doesn't target capability, military capability. It targets value-based, what is dear to you. For example, terrorism, it's a psychological warfare. Yeah. Biological weapons, it's a psychological warfare because it targets your health. Yeah. Which is valuable to everyone, of course, because we are in human incarnation, so health is important. Terrorism, again, it targets value-based, what is dear to you. Yeah. So it will have an impact. It doesn't always target military capability. It can target military capability if this is what it aims, but that's not the main goal. 9/11 is one example. Yeah. So it targeted what was the highest symbol for the Americans in New York. Yeah. The two buildings which were considered to be among the symbols of independence and commerce and so on, and the wealth of the Americans and so on. So basically, what it means that in spiritual warfare, particularly, we're talking. When you talk about spiritual warfare, you talk about two different enemies. You have the darkness, yeah, which works sometimes on its own, yeah, and it's part of the spiritual warfare. But most importantly, what we are discussing in my videos are those individuals who work with darkness, which it's a little bit more complicated because they don't respect the rules. Yeah. Unfortunately, as I said, from my own experience, darkness respects the spiritual rules and respects the will of God. Individuals, humans who work with darkness don't respect God, don't believe in God, and they don't respect the spiritual rules, unfortunately. Hence, you will have more stubborn type of attacks, but most important is that both camps attack on value-based. So both of them are doing a psychological warfare, yeah, even if they don't respect the rules. Comparing the spiritual warfare with psychological warfare, it's still valid regardless who's the enemy. Yeah, so it's a very important analogy. It's very important because it's the basis of all attacks, both from darkness or from human who work with darkness. Yeah, so they will usually target what is most important to you. This is why many attacks are trauma-based. They traumatize you. When they traumatize you, what do? They hit you in something which is dear to you, so they will create a trauma. Yeah, so it's value-based. They will create a trauma based on attacking something that is important to you, something that is part of your identity, something that is something that you need to receive. You need to receive love. They will create a setup in which you will have a breakup, a heartbreak. You will be humiliated. You will be tortured. You will be, yeah, so it's value-based, yeah? So it targets something that's important to you, to your functioning, to you as individual, to you, to your well-being, to you performing, evolving, and of course, ultimately, it targets, or primarily, it targets your ascension, to make sure that you do not connect with God, yeah, which is important to those who actually want to stay in light, yeah. So for this reason, I compared the spiritual warfare with psychological warfare. Now, the most important thing to know about psychological warfare is that you must know that it's a protracted conflict. So it doesn't end easy. It lasts long, yeah, a long time. Therefore, you need to work in different ways at different times, and you need to make sure that you preserve your strength and your balance throughout the entire conflict, yeah? So endurance, it's important. You need to train endurance and willpower, yeah? Discipline is important. Now, at the same time, psychological warfare, you can compare it with certain games. I will give a few examples. God tells me, give a few day-to-day examples. So then, for example, poker as a cards game, or chess as a game. These are psychological, I wouldn't say war, but conflict, sort of say, or engagement or something, yeah? So you need to know that there are times when you will confront your enemy, but there are times when you keep quiet. You need to have patience. You need to understand when it's important, to make your point, and when it's important to actually preserve your strength. Sometimes it's more important to preserve your strength. Now, as you receive divine guidance, because this is very different for everyone, and everyone has different situation, different enemies, different values even, so the type of attacks are different for everyone. But I always say, I give advice based on my experience, but you must have your own experience, and you must have your own divine guidance, because you're a unique individual. Everyone is unique in their own way. This is why I'm always so uneasy talking about myself. One, because I'm a private person. Second, because I know that this is very particular to everyone. And many times I say to God, I hope not everybody is going through what I'm going through, because I hope that it's easier for other people. And even if they go through the same thing, they're different than me. Maybe what I do doesn't work for them. But I can only, go by what God says. So if He says to share something, I will share it. Now, as I said, it differs how you respond to this. But one basic rule of which I can actually be very confident to give as advice for spiritual warfare and for psychological warfare, when you engage basically in psychological warfare, your strategy must be denial. So you defend, you do self-defense by denial. So whatever they target, you must understand what they target, what they aim to generate in you, yeah, and you refuse to give that. You deny it. For example, God says, give an example. For example, let's say they target money, your prosperity. They target your money usually. Then you must change. You must change the way you view money. Of course, money are important because we are in 3D. We need money for everything. Now, for example, I need to buy technology in order for a podcast. I need money. You need to pay bills. You need money for anything, any project you have. You need money. Even for making this video, I need the memory card. So it's important. But it's important that you change the way you view money. So you are willing to go without money during that time, whatever they block for you. You don't allow it to trigger you. As long as you don't allow it to trigger you, then you denied to them the success of their strategy. You understand? This is called self-defense by denial. I deny to you whatever you want. You want to talk to me, so you want to come to fight with me and to create drama. I refuse to talk to you. Simply, like this. I refuse to talk to you. Every time I have one doppelganger next door to me who from the very beginning started fights for no reason. Absolutely no reason and no legitimacy. Actually, she was always starting fights about what I'm doing in my courtyard. Don't feed the dog in the courtyard because I don't like it. It's like, what the fuck are you to like whatever I'm doing in my courtyard, But I was like, okay, now this is a crazy woman, so I shouldn't talk to her. So I very easily, from the very beginning, realized that she's one of these individuals, and I refused to talk to her like this, because this is the only way you can deal with this, by denial, as I said. And then that strategy to create drama, because this is what they want, She, in the beginning, the very first day when she moved in, just 1 second. The very first day when she moved in, she knocked on my door and she started yelling at me. Why you moved in rural area? What are you doing here? Why are you not in the city to live in civilized buildings and so on? I was like, excuse me? What is your problem? What I'm living here? You bought the next door house. Why you bought the house if you don't like it in the rural area? What is your problem? What I'm doing in the rural area? I'm doing whatever I want. I wanted to buy a house here. I feel very happy. Why you bought a house which costs 100,000 euro, and now you complain about buying the house? Who made you buy the house? I didn't say all this, but I was asking myself. I'm like, this is crazy woman. And next day, she also knocked on my door, and she started yelling at me. And this is really crazy, but this is why I'm sharing it, so you'll see how crazy it is. So she started yelling at me. She said, there's not soundproof to these houses. I can hear you when you pee. And I was shocked. I was like, what the hell is this? Who's this woman? What she wants from me? Why is she coming to my door with all this crazy stuff? And I asked her, I said, and why are you knocking on my door? Because you hear me pee. Now, do you think that I'm not going to pee in my house anymore? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, this is crazy woman. So I'm giving you an example. Later on, much later on, I realized that she's a doppelganger. She was sent, and she was actually, I learned she was actually paid to follow me around and to impersonate me and so on. And as I shared in another video, she actually later on made even accounts in my name. She stole money in my name. She's under investigation and so on. But I'm just giving you a few examples. Initially, I didn't know all this, so I was puzzled. I was like, this is crazy. But it was very clear to me that she's one of these individuals who are creating drama and scandal and so on. So basically what I did, I gave her the benefit of the doubt once, twice, and the third time she took my garbage can from my gate and she threw it on the field 500 meters away from my house. So the third time when she did this, I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk to her anymore because she's crazy. That's what I thought then. I thought she's crazy. Much later on, I understood that she's not crazy, but she's one of these individuals who are targeting me, and she's actually paid money in order to do this kind of scandals and drama and so on, you know. So I stopped talking to her. I never answer. Even to this day, if she talks to me, I turn around and I leave. I don't talk to her. And she keeps trying even to this day. It's 7 years since I moved here. And 7 years, every single day, she tries to start a scandal with me. But I never answer to her. Very seldom, I can count on one hand how many times I answered to her. Because self-defense by denial, because basically you cut it and she cannot create the drama which actually she wants to create. Yeah. So this is self-defense by denial. You just refuse to talk. You just refuse to give to that individual the opportunity to achieve his goals. Basically, this is what denial means. You figure out what that individual wants, and you refuse to give him or her the opportunity to achieve his goals, namely to trigger you. Basically, in spiritual warfare, this is what they aim, to trigger you, to create, because this is how they create strings, and this is how they feed on you. Yeah. So self-defense by denial, basically. And there are two dimensions here which I will mention. One of them is how you engage with the other one, and you deny to the other one the means which he or she wants to use in order to achieve their goal. Yeah, you just refuse to give them that chance. You don't give them the chance. This would be a different time, a different way of expressing, because God says, find a different word. You just refuse to give them the chance to actually use that tool, that strategy which they have. Yeah. Another thing, for example, God said to me one time that this doppelganger, and there's another woman who actually also claims my identity and my gifts and my whatever, also a neighbor of mine across the street. And God said to me one day, some time ago, that she wanted to make a scandal because she wanted to humiliate me and embarrass me publicly, you know. And God said she wants to come to your gate to start a scandal and a fight, you know. So one thing I said is how you engage with the other one, but another thing is how you feel about what the other one wants to do. And this is very important, and this is a self-control thing, and this is where the discipline comes in psychological warfare. Yeah. For me personally, it's very easy, and I even said to God, and I said, what does it mean to embarrass me in front of whom? Because I must care about the audience, so it would matter to me what she says. I mean, if she starts a scandal, to my mind, she's embarrassing herself, because I'm not engaging in scandals. And of course, if you yell at me, I will answer, but I will answer once and turn around and leave. I'm not gonna keep talking to you and continue, so it will become a scandal. Yeah. And second of all, who's here? Who to embarrass me in front of whom? I mean, in order to be embarrassed, I must care about the opinion of the audience. Who's the audience here? I'm surrounded by them. So basically, that's no embarrassment. It's just a circus which they make among themselves because they are working together. So I have just very few neighbors, and they're all in a convent, a satanic convent, and they are just basically, to me, they are just paid in order to do this harassment at me. So why would I feel embarrassed? I mean, they are the ones who should feel embarrassed because I know exactly what they're doing. So and it's been proven. It's been proven through, I have 2 files in court of law in 3D because of what they did. They killed 2 dogs and they poisoned them and they threw them in my courtyard, and they opened bank account in my name and so on. So, and they stole my mail, including a notice about my inheritance, which I was supposed to receive. And there's so many other things which they have done in 3D. We're not even talking about spiritual warfare. We're talking 3D actions. Yeah. So to me, it's like, I don't care. I even said to God, I don't care. This is crazy. I wouldn't feel embarrassed. Well, she can yell as crazy. I don't care, because so it's how you feel, you yourself, about it. Because even so, you deny that thing which they want to do. It's one thing, but sometimes maybe you cannot deny it always. They will succeed to do some things because you cannot stop them always. So one of the most important things, I imagine and I believe, it's how you feel about the thing which they want to do. And I will close this here. I hope this helps individuals. This is extremely important. I really hope it's understood what defense by denial means. You refuse to give them whatever they view as important in achieving their strategy. And you refuse to give them, on one hand, by refusing to give them the opportunity or the tool which they aim to use, and by working on yourself not to care. What does it mean, God says? What does it mean? It means one thing. It means go back to my video in which I explained and I gave you detailed information how to do to silence your mind and how to reprogram yourself in order to redefine things which are important to you, and triggers, issues that are triggers, vulnerabilities. We all have vulnerabilities, things that are dear to you or are sensitive to you. For example, I'm a private person. I never like to speak about myself. I'm not open to a lot of people, so I will observe someone for a long time before I will trust that individual with information about myself. Yeah. This is important. It's not necessarily because I'm some sort of paranoid. God says people will think you're paranoid. I'm not paranoid. I'm not. It's just that when I say before I trust people to tell them my information or my stuff, is that because I might think that not everybody has the same values. And maybe I have something which is important to me, and for you it's not important. And then we were not compatible in how we look at that thing. So for this reason, you will not be able to understand me. Yeah, and you might say something, or you might, which will basically either hurt my feelings, or for example, I like to be private. If I know that you're a person who gossips, I will not tell you things, because I don't want my issues to be gossiped about. Yeah. I will not judge you that you gossip, although now that I know the energetic value of it, I will judge you. But in general, I didn't used to judge people who gossip. I was like, okay, this is something they do. But I will not share with you information so you will gossip about it. Anyhow, this is important. So this is something important. Now, God said you need to start talking about yourself, because this is something that it's a vulnerability. Being private becomes a vulnerability, because they will use it against you. And they are using it against you because they're saying lies about you. So you need to start speaking, because it becomes a vulnerability. It's been very beneficial for you for a long time, but because they never knew what was important to you, so they never knew how to attack you. This was very important, actually, to be honest. And this is an example of denial. You know, it's important to not be very open about yourself, because you can deny very easily things, because they targeted many things which were not important to me. And I was like, yeah, you target my job, okay, I quit. Now what? What you gonna do? What's next? And they were very puzzled all the time. So now you target my money, okay, I will live without money. Now what? What you gonna do? It was very easy for me. It's not that I didn't value money. I did value money. But the idea is that you must learn, and this is like, if you want to see it this way, this is also one thing that monks do in order to preserve sort of safety in their spiritual evolution. They give up a lot of worldly things, yeah, because of this, because it's part of the spiritual warfare to target whatever is dear to you. If you are very attached to money, they will use this against you. Just 1 second, because my dogs are fighting. Wait. Shh. So they will target this, and they will create, and when I say they, I refer to both camps. Darkness, they will create temptation. Darkness will create temptations for you, to compromise your values, your faith, and so on. And also these individuals who work with darkness, they will create setups in order to blackmail you, yeah, for money, to make you do illegal things, to make you do immoral things, to make you whatever, yeah. Okay, so now we're getting very far away from the topic. God keeps pulling me away from the topic. By denial basically means that either you don't value that thing, or if you value it, then you work on yourself so it won't become a trigger. So they cannot trauma bond you with that issue. So they cannot create a trigger and put strings on you through frustration, through depression, through whatever they can create, because they will try to take, for example, you value money, they will take the money away from you. Now, if you don't work on yourself to change that, of course, you're not going to live all your life without money. But you're in a spiritual warfare, you know that you must give up certain things in order to win. Otherwise, whatever you refuse to give up, they will use against you. In spiritual warfare, actually, my belief is, and my experience as well, that you should be able to give up everything except your faith and your spiritual team. Yeah, everything you should be willing to give up. people, places, things. Yeah, it's being said all over internet that in order to evolve, you have to be able to give it up. My experience shows that you might be able to give some of them up just temporarily. You don't have to give them up for all your life. But in order to win the spiritual fighting, you must be able to give up whatever they target. You love a certain person. They will tempt that person to betray you. You must be able to give up that person. Because otherwise that person will pull you down. If you want to evolve, you must be able to give up. If that person loves you as much as you love that person, then that person will evolve as well, and you will meet each other in a different vibration and in a different dimension. Yeah? If not, then that's okay. That's okay. You must be able to give up. You cannot actually win spiritual fighting without giving up things, people, places, and things. This is, I think, already known by everyone. Yeah. You must be able to reinvent yourself. You must be able to change perspective over things. Like I said in a previous video, when I moved here in rural area, basically I was planning to develop a project, a business related to spirituality. At the time, I received the invitation from the church, from the one of the counselors to the patriarch, so the head of the Romanian church, and it was supposed to be a closed system in order to train certain individuals how to present to the public certain ideas, sort of like a PR on spiritual matters in order to engage with people. Now, and to polish the image of the church. That was the goal. I didn't do that. As I explained, this individual stole my idea, also my financing and so on. But then God said to me at some point, you did do a spiritual project. You already did a lot of spiritual work, and you already evolved yourself spiritually. This is not how you planned to do your spiritual work. But you must look at it as a success because you have gained tremendous knowledge, you have achieved tremendous success, and you have done tremendous work because you enlightened a lot of people. You already wrote 4 years prophetic writings, and you've done videos for 1 year. So you already done a lot of spiritual work. Yeah. So you actually achieved your goal. It's just you need to change the perspective how you look at it. If you insist stubbornly to look at it like how you initially planned it, you can see it as a failure. But then you can change how you look at it, and you say, I came here to do spiritual work, and I did the spiritual work which was the most beneficial and which was possible in the conditions I encountered. Then you will see it as a success. So this is what I mean by reprogramming yourself. You change the perspective how you look at things. Yeah, I resigned my previous job, which was considered to be very high level. You can see it as a failure, but I was never happy in that job. I was encountering a lot of political people or politically appointed people in different high-level positions, which were very superficial, were not interested to do projects, were there only for the shallow fame and so on. So from this perspective, I feel and I believe that I freed myself. They forced me these individuals who targeted me, they forced me in this situation to resign my job. So you can see it as a failure. But I choose to see it as a success because I freed myself from a workplace which I didn't like, because people that I was encountering were not interested to do what they were supposed to be doing. It was empty shell, basically, just looking fancy, dressing fancy, talking fancy, a lot of interesting speeches which I would write, but I knew that the person who's reading it is only doing it for the shallow fame, and that he's not planning to apply any of the projects that I'm writing about in that speech. Yeah, so that was a sad thing for me. So I felt, and I choose to look at it as a success because I freed myself. And this is one other example of self-defense by denial. They thought they would destroy me if I leave. Actually, they didn't think I would leave the job. They thought they can blackmail me, And when I resigned, they were in shock, because they attacked me and they said, we have rights over you because you work at this institution. I was like, you have no rights over me. I'm resigning. Now what? What you gonna do? What next? So this is another example of self-defense by denial. But I was lucky because I didn't love what I was doing. I loved, and I still love what I was supposed to be doing. But unfortunately, because of shallow people, I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was just writing empty words. And some people liked to read them so they would look nice to the audience, but they never meant anything that I was. And it's not just, it doesn't apply just for me, it applies for the entire establishment. I was not the only one who was doing that. Everybody was doing that. We all knew that we are writing words for politicians or politically appointed people who actually don't give a damn. They just want the position, and this is it. And actually, they would say it to your face. I don't care about your projects. I just want to look nice. What I should say so I look nice. And we would say to them, listen to me, but then you can say about these projects now, but in a month or a year, people will ask you. People will remember, And I'm not talking about the public audience. I'm talking about counterparts, diplomats who actually take notes. So at the next meeting, when we meet our counterparts from other countries, they will ask us about this. What we will say? This is embarrassing. Anyhow, that's a different story. That's a different... I just gave you an example so you'll understand. This is one example of self-defense by denial, namely that I was able to free myself and to deny to them. They thought that they can use that as a weapon against me to keep me under their power, And when they saw that I resigned, they were puzzled. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do because actually they didn't think that I would resign, So it was a shock to them. Anyhow, okay. And actually it was much easier for them if I would have kept my job because I wouldn't have been able to talk about all this, And to me it was like, you want to push me into a corner? I resign and now I'm free. So now you should be concerned because now I can speak. How about that? Now you should really be concerned. Anyhow, okay, I'm going to stop now because it's 15 minutes already. It's a long video. I hope I made it more clear what psychological warfare means. It requires you to create your own strategy and your own profile. It also requires you to go within and to analyze yourself, to understand about yourself which are the weak points, which are your strong points, or how to reshape yourself, how to redefine yourself, how to reprogram yourself, and what you have to let go, and how to change perspective of a certain things in order to serve your best interest, namely to win. And of course, you'll have divine guidance in this, but you must be willing to do all of this. This is work which you do on yourself at the same time as you engage with your opponents. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna stop here. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I hope this is more clear. If it's not, and I still need to explain more, I will be willing to do that as well. Okay.